Hi, so I'm really excited about this lecture because this lecture is both on my Apache NiFi course and my Apache Kafka course. So students for these courses, they will have the same lecture. Now, why I'm really excited about it is that because I'm showing how to integrate all my courses together, which is how to integrate Apache NiFi and Apache Kafka. And I've had a question from a student for this, so here's the video. Again, if you want to learn about Apache Kafka because you're an Apache NiFi source, I have a course for this. You can definitely go to the bonus lectures, the last lecture of my course, and get a coupon. And if you're learning Apache Kafka and you have no idea what Apache NiFi is, again, I have a course for this. So go to the last lecture and look at the bonus lecture, and I have a coupon for you to take to learn Apache NiFi. So pretty easy. And this integration is awesome. You'll get to see it in a minute. Okay, so what's Apache NiFi? Apache NiFi is really useful for building data pipelines using drag and drops, and that requires little to no programming. Everything is driven by configuration. It's quite easy to scale up and down. It has over 180 processors or connectors to data sources, which is very awesome. You can basically pull from any source or push to any source, and the ecosystem is growing every day. It's really used by many people in the industry, and currently it's acquired by Hortonworks. Okay, for these NiFi students who have no idea what Apache Kafka is, and again, it's one-liner, so it's very tough to describe such a big technology in one line. But to make it easy, Apache Kafka, it's a great middleware, so something that sits in the middle of your infrastructure to store your data and allow multiple consumers to subscribe to incoming data in a topic. And that topic data is populated by a producer. Okay, so it's basically a pub sub, and you can build real-time streaming applications very easily using Apache Kafka. It is used by most of the Fortune 500, about 75% of them. It's tremendous, and if you want to learn about it, again, I have a course for it. Actually, I have two, so just check out the bonus lecture, and you'll get a coupon for it. All right, so what can we do with Apache NiFi and Apache Kafka? Well, basically, we can integrate the two together, and now you can do Kafka to any source, and any source will be NiFi, or NiFi any source to Kafka. And that's pretty awesome because that's a consumer and a producer type of situation. Finally, if you've also been following my course on Apache Kafka Connect, Apache NiFi can be seen as an alternative to Apache Kafka Connect. They're not exactly the same, but they do pretty much the same thing, which is move data from sources to Kafka and from Kafka to sources. Okay, so that's for the theory. And now I really want to go into practice. Again, if you've had one course but not the other, you may be confused about what's going on. But if you're interested about the idea, definitely check it out. And once you have the two courses in mind, it makes a lot of sense. Here we go. So if you've been following the Apache Kafka course, NiFi course, my bad, you know how you have to download NiFi, and then you do bin/nifi.sh run, and this will start Apache NiFi. Now, if you've been following my Apache Kafka course, you've installed Docker, and with installing Docker, I basically gave you a Docker command to spin up a temporary Kafka cluster. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And as you can see, my advertised host is localhost, basically 127.0.0.1, and then my port for Apache Kafka is going to be 9092. So I'll also start it. And then finally, you've seen in my Apache Kafka course that if you want to use some Kafka tools, you run this command right here. So I'm going to do it right here. All right, so it's all for the command line for the setup and stuff. I just want to show you what it looks like in the end. So if you were to look at the Kafka cluster, you would go to 127.0.0.30.30, and we see we have our Kafka cluster right here. We have our topics, our connectors, our broker. It's doing some health checks right now. All these commands, by the way, that I've just shown, they will be included in the resource of the lecture. So don't worry, you can definitely practice at home. Just pull it from the resources, okay? So Apache Kafka will just boot up right now. And for those who don't know Apache NiFi, I'll show it to you right now. So here's Apache NiFi. And Apache NiFi is great for building data pipelines. I've created a special folder here called Kafka. It's a blank canvas, and we're going to build our pipeline right here. So our pipeline is going to be quite simple. We're going to take random data, store it in Kafka, and then read that data from Kafka and just log it. Okay, so two separate pipelines. So I just want to start by the NiFi processors that we're going to be using. We're going to use generate flow file, and that will generate a random flow file. And then at the end, I told you we would be logging an attribute, so we'll do log attributes as a processor. Okay, two very simple processors. We also want two other processors. The first one is going to be a Kafka producer, so you type type Kafka, and it says publish Kafka 010. Do not take the first one, take publish Kafka 010, and don't take put Kafka, okay? Just take publish Kafka 010. We'll have it right here. And then we said we were spin up a Kafka consumer. So again, if you type Kafka, there is consume Kafka 010. So we'll have a consume Kafka 010. In terms of flow, what's going on, we'll have the flow file going straight to publish Kafka, and we press add. And we'll have the consume Kafka straight going to log attribute, and we press add. Okay, so that's what our pipeline is going to be looking like. We haven't set up any of these things yet, but let's do it right now. So the number one thing we know is generate flow file. So let's just do it. We want it to run every 1 second. And then we want a file size of, say, 100 bytes. Maybe we want 10 messages at a time. The data format is going to be text. That's enough. And then unique flow files. All right, true. All right, very simple. It will just generate random data. As you can see, the NiFi connector is ready because it shows the stop sign. So now let's do the fun stuff. We want to do the publish Kafka. So publish Kafka still shows a exclamation mark, so because it's not configured yet. So let's do it. We go to configure, and the scheduling you leave to 0 second. Basically, it will be as fast as possible. And in properties, you want to give Kafka brokers. So if your advertised host isn't 127.0.0.1, you would change this. But for me, it's 127.0.0.1, so here we go. Then you have heaps of options, and all of those are described in the Kafka course, so you would know. But in terms of the one you absolutely need to have, it's the topic name. So let's call our topic NiFi topic. Okay, just could be any name. I just named it NiFi topic. The delivery guarantee is basically the settings called Axe. And I don't like the default of best effort because it can lead to data loss. I strongly recommend you use guaranteed replicated delivery as a delivery guarantee. Okay, it's basically Axe equals all. Then there's a key. If you want to join a key to your message, you can reference in NiFi a key, and then there will be your message key. But we won't have it right here because it's just random data. For the attribute encoding, you just leave UTF-8. That's enough. Message demarcator is basically, say you have multiple messages in one flow file, then you could split them using, for example, a comma or a new line. But we won't put anything right here. And then all these things you just leave, which is the request size, the wait time, etc., etc. More configs that you can play with, but the defaults are usually just fine. So we press apply. As we can see, it still shows a warning sign. It's because we haven't mapped the relationships to success and failure. So here we go to settings. Any file sent to Kafka will be success, so we terminate it. And any flow file that cannot be sent to Kafka will be failure. We're not going to do failure handling right now, but you could and you should. And here we go, we terminate as well. So now they're both in stop mode. So before I put them on, the one thing we need to do is to create our NiFi topic. So let's go to our command line. And if you've been following the Kafka course closely, you would know that you have to type Kafka topics -- create -- topic. Well, the name is NiFi topic. And then you do zookeeper 127.0.0.1.2181. It will complain. Here we go. It complains because I'm missing two very important settings, which is partitions 3 and replication factor 1. And it says the topic already exists. Oh, it's because I was playing before. So let's just call our topic NiFi topic 2. All right, that's enough. Here we go. We have NiFi topic 2. So let's go back to our configuration. And instead of NiFi topic, we'll write to NiFi topic 2. All right, excellent. So let's just start with this. We're going to start the generate flow file. And if you refresh, you see that there is some data being queued, waiting to be sent. So we have 30 in the queue, but if I refresh, we have now 80 data sets. And then if I start the publish Kafka and I refresh, the queue has been emptied and data has been written to Kafka. But we want to verify whether or not that data actually has been written to Kafka. So what we can do is start a Kafka consumer. So if you remember, Kafka console consumer, topic is going to be NiFi topic 2. And then we do bootstrap server is 127.0.0.1 and 0.92. Okay, so I'll start it. And what we see is data being written. So it's random data, it just doesn't mean anything. But we see that random data is being written to Kafka, and we have a console consumer right here that just receives that data. Okay, and every second we see 10 new messages, which is quite cool. So here we go, we have 10 new messages, and we see new data, and it's really, really cool. It's pretty awesome. So that's like half of our pipeline right here. Now, we want to take care of the consume part, okay, the consumer part. So log attributes, basically the only thing we need to do is to terminate the relationship, and now it shows that it's read, so we can start it. And the last bit we have to configure is our consume Kafka, okay? So for NiFi users, just so you can see, this thing sends data to Kafka, and this thing receives data to Kafka. So the cool thing is that NiFi doesn't have to link, you see, you don't have to link publish Kafka to consume Kafka, because Kafka is in the middle, it's somewhere around here. It's really nothing, but if I were to just add a little label for you to understand what's going on, here we have Kafka. Let me just configure it, and we'll call it Kafka. So here we have Kafka, and basically publish Kafka will send the data to Kafka. Oops, and then Kafka will be read by consume Kafka. Okay, so Kafka is like our middleware that we just talked about, whereas NiFi was sending and receiving data. So let's just start our consume Kafka, and we have to configure it. So the Kafka brokers again is going to be 127.0.0.1. The topic name is the most important one, so the name of the topic is NiFi-topic-2. The group ID is whatever you want to name it. Let's just call it NiFi, but you can name it exactly whatever you want it. Offset reset is basically when you want to read from. So we could either read from the earliest or the latest. So earliest is the earliest data available, latest is just only new data. We'll leave it at latest. And the rest is just fine. We press apply, and as you can see, the consume Kafka now shows a red sign, so I can start it. And here it is being started. So if I refresh my UI, the really cool thing is that it starts to receive some stuff. So as you can see, it's receiving data. We're now at like 580 data points, and the more I refresh, the more we get out files. So it's really cool because whatever comes in here in the producer gets out at the consumer level, which is quite nice. Here we have our data, and it's like 10 points a second, but we can go way faster, and let's do it. We're going to take the generate flow file, and instead of saying the scheduling is going to be every second, let's just stop it. We'll say every 10 milliseconds, which is 100 times faster. So now we'll have 1000 data points a second. So I'll just start it. And as you can see, the queue is very small, 20 and 0. So it's reading and writing at the rate of 1000 messages per second. Here we are. We have a producer from NiFi sending 1000 messages per second to Kafka, and the consumer from NiFi again reading 1000 messages a second. And then we have Kafka handling 1000 messages. If I go back to my consumer, it's going to be crazy. It's receiving so much data right here. It's random stuff, so it doesn't look good, but it's receiving so much data. And now if I just stop my consumer, we see we have processed 33,000 messages already, which is a lot. So that's about it. I wanted to show you the simplicity of integrating Apache Kafka and Apache NiFi together and how much performance we get out of it. So if you want to learn about either of those, just look at the last lecture in the bonus lecture, and you'll get coupons. And then I hope you'll have fun learning NiFi or Kafka, and I hope you like this lecture. See ya.